G'day y'all, it's The Edward Show. I'm your host, Edward Fox, and together we're going to dive into the lives and stories of extraordinary individuals I meet from every corner of our globe. G'day y'all, it's The Edward Show, and my special guest today is Brandon Barnum, CEO of HOA.com, and he is known as the king of referrals. So I'm pretty good at networking, pretty good at referrals. There's different type of referrals, but we're going to find out all about him. Brandon, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, my pleasure, Ed. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you say that now. Wait till the end. Yeah, that could be interesting. So where do you hail from, Brandon? Where are you sitting right now? In what part of the country?
Yeah, right now I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, originally from Portland, Oregon.
Okay, well, Phoenix, Arizona is nice. You don't have to mow lawns down there. You just have to rake the gravel, right?
Yeah, I wish that were the case. We've got 3 dogs, so we've got grass, and a lot of my friends have just turf and landscape.
Right. Yeah. So I've got some friends in Albuquerque, and when we went down there, he's out raking his lawn, in the backyard. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Okay. So you said originally from
Portland, Oregon.
Oregon. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a lot Pacific Northwest, right? So that's a lot like where I grew up in Australia. I grew up in logging towns. Is Portland a big logging town?
Portland isn't, but Oregon is.
Right around it, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So my guys would come into the shop and they go, I lost this one. This one got me a jet ski. This one got me an RV. They'd come in with just down to the knuckle. I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting into the sawmill industry. That is not going to happen for me. So I learned how to run my mouth, and that's worked pretty well. So Brandon, tell me how you became known as the king of referrals. How did that all happen?
Honestly, I got started in the mortgage business back when in the late 90s, and I was a single dad, and I was making about 20 grand a year when I got custody, and just had to make a change. Ended up in the mortgage industry, and within 18 months, I was able to 10x my income from 20,000 a year to 200,000 a year, and went on to do $500 million in transactions by referral. And really, ever since then, I've just been on a mission to help as many people as possible learn this process and increase their income, their influence, and their impact through referrals.
I bet you've said that once or twice before.
Once or twice.
It's very polished. So when you got started in the mortgage industry, were you involved with a bigger company, or were you out on your own?
I worked for a bank, but everybody's on their own. You've got to create your own opportunities and find your own deals. So I worked under a bank, but I was out there on my own. Right.
So it's sort of commission based. If you
100%.
didn't sell, you didn't eat, sort of thing.
That's right.
Exactly. So so at that level, so a lot of our people that listen to my podcast and that we talk to when I'm out and about are smaller business owners, right? And so they're using things like BNIs and chambers and independent networking. Is that where you started out?
100%. Yeah. I was in a LATIP group, which LATIP was the predecessor to BNI. Ivan Meister was in LATIP. And then said, hey, there's a better way to do it. Created BNI from that. So yeah, I used to go to all those events, and really what made the difference for me is I had a mentor that taught me the art and science of raving referrals, and basically said, look, your business is going to come from other professionals who are serving homeowners every day. So add as much value as possible to them. And a lot of that value comes in co-marketing. And this is one of the biggest gaps that we see, like for BNI groups. These people will meet every week and they have great conversations. They'll go grab a cup of coffee or grab a beer, and they'll talk about how they're going to do more business, but very little action gets done. So one of the things that we teach is how you automate co-marketing so that you're each cross-promoting each other and recommending your partners to your database.
Exactly. I love how you say that. I talk all the time when you've got these symbiotic relationships, right? Or these industries that butt up to each other. If you're a HVAC guy and you're a mortgage broker and you're a real estate agent and you're a plumber and you're everybody that deals with the residential home could work together, right? And just teaching them. I was just having lunch with a guy today, actually, and he's new to the real estate business. And I was telling him, I said, find people that butt up to you and then work out promotions and cross marketing so that you can bear the costs of all of that and share it between you. So it's funny you should mention that.
Yeah, 100%. We teach the referral partner blueprint because a lot of people don't create those partnerships. In fact, Ed, I surveyed over 2,000 professionals to find out how many of them are actually using these referral partnerships. 79% had two or less referral partners. 32% have zero, 47% said they have one or two. And so that's like the 80-20 rule. So the good news for you, those of you that are listening that do that or that want to start doing that, is there's not a lot of competition out there. And when you partner with complementary professionals and you really build your businesses together, not only do you make a lot more money, but it's a lot more fun at the same time.
I would agree 100%. And how much have you found starting out in the mortgage industry to where you are now? How much have you found that authenticity and relationship building plays into that?
It's huge. It's all about relationship building. And I think if you want to build real trust, you got to be true and authentic, to your point, right? But it all comes down to trust. Trust is the reason that we refer. We trust that the person that we're referring is going to help solve our clients' needs and challenges. And that happens only when you spend time with people and you get to know them and they get to trust you.
So think of that, and the person that's listening to us says, "Oh yeah, Brandon. Oh yeah, Edward. That's all well and good, but what do I do? How do I get started increasing my business and increasing those connections, increasing those referrals?" I've been in BNI with Edward for 4 years, and I'm still sitting at the same level, and I don't do anything he suggests. But maybe if we hear it from Brandon, they might. Just a little dig at a couple of my friends.
One of the first things we recommend is people do the referral score quiz. We have a free quiz, takes 1 to 2 minutes. It's at referralscorequiz.com. And just really self-assessing how you score on the top 10 referral best practices is eye-opening, because some of them you may be a 10 out of 10 and others you're probably a 0 out of 10.
Right.
And I only learned that because there were some things that I wasn't doing. I remember my biggest referral fail. I had a VP for Intel call me up one day, and this was a past client. I'd done multiple loans for the guy, mortgages, and he calls me up one day and he says, "Hey," he had sent me a referral and he was checking up. He said, "Hey, I just wanted to hear how things went with Mike." And I said, "Oh, they're fantastic. We just closed his loan 2 weeks ago." And there was this huge pause on the line. I'll never forget it. And he says, "Is it okay if I give you a little bit of coaching?" I said, "Yeah, of course, John, I'd love it." He says, "Number one, it's a really good idea to thank people when they give you referrals." And I just felt like the biggest idiot. Number
Right.
two, he says, "It's a really good idea to update them too about what's going on." And I had missed both of those things. I just wasn't doing it consistently. And at that point, I had my own mortgage company. I had about 30 loan officers working for me. So I printed up thank you cards that literally had the client's name as a fill in the blank on the card, just because it was a huge gap for me. And once we started doing that, we got a lot more business as a result.
Right. I tell people that all the time. So, there's some great, for the smaller business owners, there's some great programs out there like Send Out Cards and Mailbox Power, right?
Yeah.
Where they can do some of those, even automations with their own handwriting these days, right? They scan in their handwriting and do that. So I
Right.
scan in my signature and add that. I add a dad joke or two to the card and thank them very much for the referral.
Nice.
And the impact that has on them is just fantastic, right? It's just when you put people first.
Yeah.
BNI talks a lot about how givers gain, and we don't give to get, but we will
Yeah.
get if we do give. And
Absolutely.
we've got the biblical stories and the thought of it'll come back pressed down and overflowing, but not always from the same direction, right? If you're sending it out in the right way and you're helping people and you're building value. But I think what happens is people forget that they still have to be intentional. They still have to intentionally ask for the business and go after the business. They
Yeah.
can't make all these great they can't make all these great relationships and then not ask for the business, right?
100%. And I think we teach the art of the ask And that's one of the biggest gaps I see, is that people don't ask for what they're looking for. They don't ask for referrals. We help people automate the ask so that your system is asking for you. But then we also teach the art of the ask so that people can feel confident and comfortable and make sure that their clients are comfortable at the same time.
So
But yeah,
is this a
yeah, go ahead.
side, is this a different division? Because I think people would look at HOA.com and think it's only for realtors, but it sounds like this referral building program could be used for anybody that needs referrals.
Anyone who serves homeowners. So my last platform that I built was called Refer.com. We had over 5 million members, and that was for both B2C and B2B pros. With HOA.com, we've created a referral network for professionals who serve homeowners. So that's your realtors, mortgage, insurance, financial planners, CPAs, attorneys, and then your painters, your plumbers, your HVAC, and all of the other home service professionals that are providing those services. So we say, 1 + 1 = 11. When you build a team and you're working together and you're consistently communicating out to your market and promoting your referral partners, then everybody wins together.
And so what made you move from the mortgage brokering and building that team? Because obviously you could have stayed in that space and just done that, and moving to HOA.com.
Well, so there's about 13 years in between, but I got out of the mortgage business in 2009 after the last sort of real estate correction. And I had been in it for 12 years and it just wasn't exciting. I was loving building technology. My first website was 26 years ago. I built an early version of Zillow, a home buyer's guide where people could sit at home and search real estate listings. And so I wanted to do more of that. And so that's what I've done since I got out of the mortgage business. I've just been building technology platforms, and that's what lights my fire. I want to help everybody, not just one person at a time.
So does your B2B site still exist, or has that been taken, or did you sell that, or what did you do with
We
it?
sold it in 2019. And
Okay.
so that was refer.com, and it's since been rebranded as pod.io. And I heard they just bought a new company, and so they've shifted away from referrals entirely, and they're focused on the STEM world of science, technology, engineering, and
Oh, I
mathematics.
see. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm a B2B guy, right? I own a barter exchange, and so I sign up small businesses to barter their excess, that sort of stuff. So for the
Smart.
B2B guys out there, is there anybody doing what you used to do?
Ooh, I haven't seen anybody. I'd say Alignable does a good job on the kind of the small individual localized marketing. I haven't seen anybody that's doing it on a nationwide basis. So Alignable is probably the best platform that I've seen that's in that space.
Okay. And for those of you not familiar with Alignable is a US and Canada only I call it like a hyper local LinkedIn. If you have a locally targeted market and you're not national in scope, so a web designer they can work anywhere. But for somebody who runs a HVAC company in Franklin, Tennessee, then they can get on Alignable, pick their community as Franklin, Tennessee, and really do a great job of building brand and building local contacts through the Alignable platform. So definitely check it out. Brandon's exactly right. I love the Alignable platform and what Venkat and Eric have done with Alignable. So there's
Honestly, they were competitors with us back at Refer.com. We were
right.
both on the same track. So I've been watching them for years.
Yep.
And I love that you just said hyper local, because that's really what we're doing here at HOA.com. We call it hyper local social farming. And for homeowners, we're drilling down into the local communities. So we're creating online community pages for every neighborhood in America, much like Nextdoor. Then we bring in the vetted, trusted professional like an Angie's List or a home advisor. And then we bring in real estate valuations like Zillow.com. So we're creating one platform with everything a homeowner needs. And it's helping the professionals retarget, remarket. And I love that you mentioned mailbox power and send out cards. We just hired the former chief marketing officer from send out cards, and he was the CEO of Mailbox Power. So we're creating our own automated, system to follow up, and then we'll be rolling out in 2024 a white labeled version. But customization and personalization is so huge, Ed, and I love that you're teaching people that, because so many people are missing it.
Right.
They really focus on themselves and their business, and they forget to follow up with all of their past clients and customers, which is their greatest source of new clients.
Right. Yeah. And I tell people, lean into your authenticity. For me, I've gone on this kick for special ed, doing the American flag thing and telling dad jokes, right? Because as a Christian, one of the things I wanted was clean dad jokes. My kids look up to me. Now they might roll their eyes when I tell them a dad joke, right? But the fact is they know that I love their mother and that I never say anything negative about my wife. We've been married 33 years. I say she's the most wonderful wife in the world, and that's trademarked, and the kids lean into that, and they're like, Dad, like, why don't other people talk about their wives like that? Because they don't know. They've never been taught, right? And then that relates directly back to how we run our business. Why can some people 10x their business, 20x their business, or some are completely happy to just 2x their business, right? And whatever they're interested in doing, that's what they should do. They should be authentic to themselves. But HOA is giving all of these people that work with the homeowner a great option to upscale for probably a very reasonable cost, I would imagine.
Yeah, less than $1 a day. Can't get much more reasonable than that.
I remember when BNI was less than $1 a day. Those days are gone.
What is it out there in Nashville these days?
So Nashville, I'm in a chapter that's got 68 members, so it's pretty solid. $16.7 million in referrals last year, or in the last 12 months, which is pretty sweet. And I think it's $900 the first year, and then a little bit cheaper the second year, because you don't have to pay the setup fee or whatever. And then our chapter dues are like $125 a quarter. So for me, my return on that, I think I do 300,000 in transactions a year out of BNI. Nice. So it's worth $1,000. I had a guy say,
no brainer.
Yeah, no, he said, oh, what's it cost to join? I said, well, if I can bring you $3 million, how much will you pay for that? How about $1 million? He's like, really? I said, look, a third of your, if you can 3x your return. I said, no, it's $1,000, and you're probably going to make about 100,000. You're a lawn care guy. You can get in with all of these guys. So for somebody that is interested in finding out more, they might not even know that HOA.com exists, right? So they can go to HOA.com. I'm sure you've got a landing page. They can fill out their information, download some free goodies. What would you recommend to somebody that's in your space? What should they do next?
Well, definitely you can go to HOA.com. In the top right, you'll see Become a Pro. You can click on that button, fill out the application, go through that process. But I'd love to give you guys a gift, which is our referral partner blueprint. If you go to HOA.com/blueprint, you can download our free referral partner blueprint. Now, this is essentially the Cliff Notes version of our Raving Referrals book. So if you want everything that you need to know, just go ahead and grab the Raving Referrals book at Amazon or on ravingreferrals.com. But this referral partner blueprint is really the short and sweet guide. It's going to help you identify exactly who you should be partnering with, what you should be saying, and then there's 21 co-marketing campaigns, and most of them you can deploy absolutely free, but they're a way that you can sit down with your referral partners, print out the referral partner blueprint one page, and then you sit there and agree to what you're going to do to promote each of your partners. And by the end of your coffee or lunch meeting, you walk away with a plan of action and a commitment for how you're going to build your business together.
So you could take a residential power team, if it's a BNI group or a chain group, and take that residential group. Like, one of the things I tried to talk my guys into doing in Wichita, and I've always been B2B, right? So not B2C. But I'm like, guys, if you each put up $1,000 worth of retail value of giveaways, and build referrals for the year and build a whole campaign around 10 of you giving up $10,000 total worth of goods or services that cost you, a third of that or a fifth of that or whatever your hard cost is, right? And then you have, top four referral customers or whatever, each get a chunk. It's a no-brainer, and just like it's pulling teeth. And I'm sure that's one of the blueprints that you've got, something like that.
Well, it's hilarious that you say that, Ed, because we actually started this company by saying, what if we created the BNI power team for professionals who serve homeowners? What if we built an entire referral network just for that? That's how we started this company. We started as thehomeowneralliance.com. That was our original domain. And we realized that was too long to fit on the side of a bus. So we said, okay, if we could have any domain on the planet, what would it be? Home Owner Alliance. And that's when we went out and got HOA.com.
HOA.com, no Karens allowed.
It's funny you say that because I say it all the time. The one challenge with people love Nextdoor, except for those that complain. So we're literally building into our tech platform a place for complainers because we want to give everyone voice in the neighborhood. People need to be able to share their criticisms. And when we activate a new community, we're doing a community satisfaction survey and sending every homeowner a postcard with a QR code tied to their address so that they can give feedback about how their HOA board is doing. And we're going to then compile that feedback, give it to the board so they see where they can improve things. But you've got to hear people's concerns and complaints. We just don't want that to be the number one thing people see.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're right. Feedback, constructive criticism is good. I learn more from my mistakes than I do from the things I do right.
Yeah.
Sales can hide a lot of mistakes or a lot of challenges. And so it's good to have somebody to bring them up in a constructive way. I ask people all the time, my wife's been in customer service for a lot of years, worked for Perkins Restaurants out here, and then went to pharmacy school and became a pharmacist and has worked for the major brands, Walgreens, Kroger, those guys, and a hospital as well. And when we see something that isn't right from the customer service perspective, we always ask the business owner or the manager, are you open to feedback? And they all say yes, but none of them are open to feedback.
They don't really listen.
No, they don't want the feedback. But then you get the business owners, the actual owners that are serious about growing their business. And they're like, we thrive on feedback because if that's the area that we're blind to, we want to be able to see it. And I think that is key. But it sounds like you got a lot of systems in place that can help those businesses that help the homeowner.
Absolutely. And just, I want to touch on that feedback. We say feedback is the breakfast of champions, right? Because the only way you're going to get better is to understand where you're falling short and where you can improve. And, we don't know until people tell us. So that's why we're so proactive at surveying and really understanding where are the gaps and where are the challenges that people want to improve in. So feedback is so important. But to your point, Ed, our focus is helping the professionals who serve homeowners connect with them, retarget, remarket, cross-promote so that everyone's building their business together. And then what we do in the communities themselves is we do community impact events. When you think about these neighborhoods, we love living in a connected community. So we do barbecues and ice cream socials. Some communities will bring a bounce house in for the kids for, a Saturday afternoon. So we want to really connect communities so that people feel differently about their HOA and the community they live in.
And I could really see where local ambassadors for your hyper-local communities could make good sense. It's all about having those ambassadors out in the marketplace these days.
So we do it two ways. We have an ambassador program. That's our affiliate plan. And we invite all of our pros to become ambassadors. And that way, as they share it with others, they earn mailbox money. And in the communities themselves, we invite the homeowners to be a community champion. And that means they're going to be helping host the events that we're doing. And whether it's a community cleanup or a service impact day, then they can get involved and then really just like your kids, seeing you as the leader. We know people want to be leaders in their community, and we want to help them be the leader and really bring that neighborhood together.
That's exciting. And of course, with me being in B2B and not B2C or to the consumer, I didn't know you guys existed. Or if I did see it, I would have thought the HOA is like the association of homeowners associations or something, right? So
Absolutely.
I'm really glad you reached out to me and came on the show. So here's the question I put to a lot of my guests, and most of the time I do it beforehand, but I forgot to ask you. What do you always wish when you're interviewed you would be asked and you've never been asked?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. One of the things that, because my last name is Barnum, people sometimes on the street will ask me if I'm related to P.T. Barnum. And so that's kind of a fun question that I grew up believing I was. My grandmother told me that P.T. Barnum was my great, 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 great uncle.
Okay.
And so of all my childhood, that was part of my identity, right? I used to go to the circus and ride the elephant and think, hey, welcome to my show. It's the greatest show, right? And I was going to claim it on stage when I was 34 and figured out that before I claimed it myself, I better do the research and
Right.
not so much. So it's part of my spirit, not part of my blood.
There you go. Well, and I think that his line that I remember isn't a line that you'd want to be associated with anyway. There's a sucker born every minute, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
that is totally, to me, is the wrong mindset for a business person to have,
Absolutely.
is because you don't want suckers. You want people that have thought through and have investigated and knowledgeable and choose you and the people in your organization because they're the right fit, because they build relationships, because they're honest and dependable and reliable and they take care of their customer. So I was going to ask you about PT Barnum, and I thought, that line is the one I don't like. So you could have some
I
fun.
agree. No, 100% agree with you. I love the fact that he's known as the greatest showman. And
Right.
if you haven't seen the Greatest Showman movie, like it's
Hugh
fantastic.
Jackman is excellent. Yes.
Oh, and the soundtrack it should
Right.
be our soundtrack for life. It's fantastic. But I agree with you. It really comes down to trust, as we talked about earlier. We're building in a trust score that's going to bring in Google reviews and Yelp reviews and amalgamate them all into one internal score on HOA.com, because that's really what it comes down to. We don't think it should be Angie's list. We think it should be Edward's list. You should have your own trusted team of professionals, because right now, Ed, where do you go if somebody asks you for a referral? You probably have your BNI website
Right.
in your group, and so you've got that online. Well, if people aren't in BNI, they don't have that, and consumers, homeowners don't have that. So that's part of what we're building into their homeowner profile, is that you'll have all of your trusted home service professionals in one place. So you never have to go wondering if somebody asks you, for a recommendation to a painter. Oh, who was that guy that hired, that we hired 5 years ago? Because most of those blue collar guys, they come serve your home and then they go in ghost mode. You never hear from them again. That's one of the
Which is,
challenges we're
yeah,
solving for them.
right, exactly. And because my dad, who was a contractor, right, he says it's like the accordion, the in and out of the accordion, because if he was out selling jobs, then he wasn't working and getting paid. And if he was
Exactly.
working and getting paid, he wasn't out selling jobs. And now we see that expand to, how do I keep up with my social media? How do I keep up with my reputation marketing or my relationship marketing? How do I keep up with all that back end? Oh, I don't have time for all of that, And so that's where I think you're providing a service that can actually bring all that into one place, right? To do that.
Exactly. And it's automated co-marketing. So it takes about an hour on the front end to fully create your profile, invite your trusted team, and then import your homeowner database. You can do it much faster than that. But if people plan 1 hour to work on their business, the beauty is it's set it and forget it from there. Once you set it up, it just runs every single month and keeps you top of mind with all the homeowners in your database.
Exactly. And I'm so excited to have met you and learn about this. I think it's going to be very valuable for a lot of people that I know. So what I did, I'm a URL junkie. I don't know if you were ever like this, but a serial entrepreneur, I like to go out and I like to get URLs. And I found a URL edify.vip. And so the
Oh,
idea
nice.
was that those people that I meet that I think are just something extra, that are just special, that I would put profiles for them on this
Smart.
edify.vip and say, these are people that I highly recommend. They wouldn't even know that they're on there until somebody tattletales and lets them know. But I love leaning into that of edifying others and building others, because so much we see it with Google all the time. We read the reviews. They say 96% of people trust the reviews they read online. Whether they should or not is a whole different discussion. But for the most part, we can see that business owners that respond or have a team that respond, not just thank you for the review, but actually respond. And I love the ones that go get a 1-star review and then they go, I'm sorry, we show no record of you as a client, and we've done all this search, and I apologize if there's been a problem, but we can't find you, so please reach out. It sort of says these guys aren't real, like, take a hike.
Exactly.
But the ones that have the time to do that, it's important. And so the idea of being able to have your most trusted people that you can recommend, and you're going to have them all in one place in a profile, which makes it even easier.
Yeah, you as a homeowner will have your own profile. The pros already have that built into their profile. And I love your whole edify.vip. That's brilliant, Ed. I love that. I've done the same thing at Raving Referrals. You can go to expert faculty and you'll see those are my VIPs. Honestly, those are the CEOs and all the different professionals that I know I can trust, the people that I recommend and refer people to on the B2B side at the highest level. And then what we're doing for the homeowners is it'll be, again, that hyper local social farming concept, because realtors have done a great job farming communities, but all of the other pros have kind of missed the boat. So we're helping everybody do that together as a team.
Well, I think the one thing that bugs me about real estate agents today is you've got the top percentage that are making money, right? Like you've got a lot that are not making money. But you look at them, and I go to a lot of different BNI groups, a lot of different chambers, a lot of different stuff out there in the marketplace with these realtors. They all look the same. Now, I'm not saying black, white, pink, yellow, tall, short, whatever, but they all look vanilla. Right. Just the way, they also, oh, my passion is to help you find the right home. I'm calling BS. That is not a passion. A passion is your family. A passion for you would be scuba diving and your family, right?
Absolutely.
Passion is what we love to do. I love telling dad jokes. I love my wife. I love spending time with my wife. And if I could spend time with my wife and tell dad jokes, the only thing is they all look at her to see if she's going to laugh. Well, she's heard them all 4,000 times before, right? So we were at an event the other night and they're looking at her. I said, don't look at her. She's heard them 100 times. They're all wife approved. They're all wife. If I don't get a groan, an eye roll, or a head shake, then they don't get told, right? So my favorite one of all time is a two-parter. The first part's weak, the second part's strong. So I was watching a Netflix documentary the other night about how they build warships. Riveting. But the Norwegian Navy, they talked about, was welding barcodes on the sides of their warships, so when they come back to port, they can Scandinavian. I didn't write it, but that is a classic for me. And so that's the stuff I like to do, because we want to make people's lives better. And what you're doing is you can get paid if you make people's lives better, right? Because you're providing a product or a service. And in this case, you're providing a service that I bet you the vast majority of business owners don't know about, right? In your industry. But to get back to those real estate agents, they've got to really lean into their authenticity. Now, I'm not saying they've got to wear American flag shirts and an Aussie hat or have green hair like I did for my BNI presentation. My trade bank barter is the green colors. And so I'm saving them green, making them green. And so I said, I'm totally committed, guys. I'm not saying they have to do that, but they have to lean into their authenticity that is them, right? Absolutely. And they have to find out who they are and stop being me too, me too, me too, and say, I'm going to stand out. So we need a company that teaches them how to lean into their brand as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to just constantly be in touch in front of the same people. One of the things that we see is that people aren't consistent with their communication. They're not consistent with their marketing, and so they get forgotten. And so,
Right. Well, if you're
yes,
hiring, who was it? Joe? Or Joe was the owner of Mailbox Power, right? He was chief
Joe
marketing.
Kennemore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that who you hired?
Yep.
Okay. So great guy, right? Awesome,
Amazing.
awesome dude.
Love him.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's going to be able to help your clients build that constant touch and staying, because these days we hear that you got to touch people 15 to 20 times, right, to get
Right.
them to make a sale. I just got where are they? Over here. Remember the round to it's? You ever see a round to it? No, not familiar.
Get around to it.
Yeah,
Oh,
get
there you
around
go.
to it. Right. So, I mean, it's old school, right? My grandfather and my uncle used these. And so I put my face on one side, just a
Nice.
poker chip I bought from Alibaba, and have it printed. And it says the word, for those of you listening on the podcast, it says Tuit, Tuit, and it's round. So, you know how people say, when you get around to it, give me a call. When I get around to it, I'll give you a call. And then you hand them one and they go, what's this? I said, well, it's around to it. Now you got no excuse.
That's
Right.
awesome.
And I give them two because my picture's on the other side, and I say two ads are better than one. That's my authenticity.
And you got dad jokes built into everything. I love it.
I've got 4,000 dad jokes. In fact, I get emails, messages, Facebook messages, text messages from people all over the world sending me their latest dad jokes. Some of them I'm never going to say. Some of them,
Yeah.
the funniest one I heard lately, I said, "Oh, I'm eating lunch at a Mediterranean restaurant." Sorry, I got to slow down. Brain, is going too fast. And I said, I need some dad jokes about Mediterranean food. Well, I got a pretty good one. Do you hear about the dead guy found in a vat of ground chickpeas? The police are treating it as a homicide.
Oh, okay.
That's
There
bad,
you
right?
go.
And I said, that's good. Any others? And the other one I got was Black Eyed Peas sing us a tune, but chickpeas can only hum us one. That's really bad. But my guys at my Mediterranean restaurant called Peter Way, by the way, that's Peter Way in Cool Springs, Tennessee, just outside of Franklin, just south of Nashville. Best Euro meat ever. So I told them that, and they were rolling around the floor laughing. I've got these dad joke stickers. Follow me on TikTok, dad joke. And
there you go.
Stack right there. So leaning into your authenticity, following up for that. Brandon, anything else you want to talk about that we haven't talked about? Now, we did find out that you're a big scuba diver guy before we came on, but you haven't been down to the Barrier Reef. You've got to change that, mate, before the Barrier Reef is gone.
I don't totally have to change it. We just partnered with the Remax franchise owner of all the Remax Caribbean and Central America. He spends half his time down in Belize, and I've only dove down Belize once, but I didn't do the Great Big Hole and Blue Hole, and I've got to do that. But absolutely, Australia is on the top of my list, brother.
They got flights go there every day, mate. Just every day, so
every day.
Yeah, every day. We're going down there for Christmas, which is the hottest part of the year. I have a deal though. When we go fishing, think about what we wear, or what we use when we go fishing. We use bright, shiny lures. And when we go swimming at the beach, not scuba diving, but when we go swimming at the beach, we wear bright colored clothes. I'm like, so we're jiggling the lures in the water. So I have a deal. I don't like sharks, right? So the sharks stay in their territory and I stay on the land, and we keep it good. And then I moved to Kansas. And what does sci-fi do? They do Sharknado range of movies. I think we're up to Sharknado 27. I'm like, hey, you broke the treaty. My wife's like, that's in the US, not in Australia.
I think you're safe on the beach, man.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any Sharknadoes coming after you.
I'm more like a beached whale. It used to be. I used to be 325 pounds, but
oh wow.
Anyway, I'm down to 240, feeling pretty good, leaning into this. I say Australian by birth, American by choice.
Nice.
So I think for all its flaws, it's the greatest country on earth, and I think we've got some great people. And Americans are very generous, right? They're very generous, and I think what I love the most is that they go out of their way to help people more often than not. Absolutely. And what we have to remember, even if we don't agree on something, we've forgotten how to still stay friends. Remember when we used to have friends that would disagree with us? Nowadays, like, they're unfriending us on Facebook, and we need to get back to that civil society where, hey, you know what, Brandon, I don't happen to agree from that point of view. So can we agree to disagree
Absolutely.
and stay friends, right?
Well, what's interesting on the tech side is there's literally been a move to take people further apart, right? To
Right.
Instead of uniting people, it's dividing people. And it's unfortunate, but the algorithms are all based on profitability, and they get higher click-through rates and higher cost per click when they get sort of out on the fringe, either far left or far right. And it's time to come back to the middle and remember what we have in common.
Right.
And hopefully that's the love of this country, because it is the greatest nation on earth.
There you go. Agree with you
All
100%.
respect to Australia, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, no, that's fine. But that's what I love about Americans. Australians go, the way Australians build you up is by tearing themselves down. I'm worthless compared to you, which that's what I was taught, right?
Okay.
Americans go, I'm friggin' awesome and you're not too bad yourself.
Hey,
And I
there
love
you
that,
go.
right? I love that. So, last question before I let you go. How is AI affecting what you do?
Well, we're using AI in a lot of different ways. First of all, I built an AI platform about 4 years ago, before ChatGPT and everybody caught on to AI, but we did it for personality science so you could understand how your prospect really thinks and how you can
Right.
serve them more effectively. Because when you understand the personality profile of the person that you're talking to, you can customize your conversation and your presentation to make more of an impact on them. Okay,
Right.
so we've been doing personality science for a long time, and using AI was a great application for that. The way that we're using AI now is to really help people to connect to the best possible fit for them. And a lot of that is the interconnectedness, the relationships. Like for you, you probably have 100 different professionals that, at least, right, that you do business with that are part of your social sphere. Well, we're mapping using AI to map all those relational interconnectedness. And then when you think about applying that to homeowners specifically, all the professionals who serve all of the homeowners in those neighborhoods, that's where we think we're going to be able to use the AI for the biggest impact.
Wow. Yeah, I think you're right. I think I don't think it's the big bad guy that people want to make it out. It's sort of like, as a Christian, when the internet comes out, right? Oh no, the internet, it's going to have all the bad stuff on it. Yes, but it also allows us to reach a bunch more people that we wouldn't otherwise reach, right? So
Mm.
AI could be the same thing. If I don't know how to put 4 words together, but I can at least do a bullet point and then ask AI to, at its most basic, right? But it's going to be able to do so much further, more down the road, that's going to help small business owners and big business owners as well. Yes, there will always be negative sides to it, but I think the pluses outweigh the minuses.
Well, and I love that you shared that. And I love that you shared your faith. And I'll tell you, we're building the Christian Business Alliance because, much like the BNI Power Team, we think people should be able to buy Christian. There should be fellowship of believers in business, and marketplace ministry needs to be taught in a local church by church basis. So we have a concept that kind of like Financial Peace University, we're bringing into different churches, and we're actually working with the CEO of Christian.com on an AI platform to help bring truth to the world, because a lot of the search engines right now have been modified based on the belief systems of those that control the platforms. And
Right.
so we said, okay, well, what if we can actually bring the truth, the unfiltered truth, to people so that they're not just getting one side of the story? So a lot of good projects that we're working on simultaneously. And
Well, I would
got
love to have you back on and talk about that. Okay. So
oh,
when you get more, when you get to a point that you want to talk about that, I think that's very important, because at church, when I go to church with you, I don't want to be pitching my business, but at some point, I would rather do business with you than business with somebody else, right?
exactly. Right.
If you're a believer and I'm a believer and we like, know, and trust each other, because that still has to be a part of it, right?
Absolutely.
We don't want somebody that professes to be a Christian on Sunday and then rips us off on Monday, right? No, we want to build those know, like, and trust and have ratings and all that sort of stuff. But I can't do that at church. So I'm part of the Tennessee Christian Chamber of Commerce, right?
Nice,
And there's not
nice.
a lot of
Yeah.
Christian chambers of commerce, but
Mhm.
COVID messed with all the chambers, regardless Christian or not. There was
Right.
very few chambers that grew during COVID. Most of them shrunk, and so we're rebuilding that. But I think it's important for those of us that have a certain belief structure that we are able to interact and talk. And the nice thing about being in the South, quite honestly, is it starts out at a networking event. Hey, Brandon, what church do you go to? You know,
Right.
so when I got here from Kansas, Kansas was pretty good at praying. You know, you'd be at a restaurant, people are praying, that's okay. But in the South, man, like it's straight up, you know, there's a church on every corner. I grew up in Australia where there's a pub on every corner, right? You know,
Right.
so it's just those differences. And I love it down here in the South. So if somebody comes to Phoenix, Brandon, tell me 3 cool things to do in the Phoenix area if we're not familiar, and then I'll let you go.
All right, brother. Well, if you like to hike, there's Camelback Mountain. It's got the most beautiful views of the entire city. It's like 360-degree view. So Camelback is famous. Definitely go to Camelback.
I do have to say, I lie down. I think about hiking and then I lay down until the feeling passes. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, and it's an intense hike. The
Right.
last third is kind of an uphill climb where you're literally climbing rocks.
Oh, wow.
It's not a trail hike, so
Okay.
not for the weak of mind. My wife and I just went on a kayak down the Salt River about 2 weeks
awesome.
ago with some friends. We saw 25 wild horses on our 2-hour kayak trip. So that's another great one at the Salt Lake River.
Is that a lot of work, or was the river flowing? Yeah.
Easy. It's a Sunday morning, just a great ride out there in God's beautiful, amazing wilderness. And that's the most horses we've ever seen. We've seen 6 before. We saw 25 2 weeks ago. So that's pretty awesome. And there's so much great food around. Like there's downtown areas. Downtown Scottsdale is pretty famous for
I do like Scottsdale.
Old Town Scottsdale. For a guy like you in a Western hat, Old Town Scottsdale is a good spot to go.
Kangaroo leather, man. Original kangaroo,
cool is that?
made in Australia. It's one of those ones. I'm not really good with hats. I hate expensive hats, but this thing is fold up, chuck it in the bag, and good to go.
That's cool, brother.
So awesome, man. Hey, Brandon, great having you on. Let me know how we can help you guys, and then as soon as this comes out, it'll be a few weeks. My daughter is the producer. We'll let you know, and feel free to contact us anytime, and we'll have you back on updating people as to what's going on.
Oh, thanks, Ed. Appreciate it. God bless you, brother.
G'day again. Well, that's it for the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like us, subscribe, follow, write a 5-star review. You know, all the good stuff. Thanks a lot for listening, and look forward to having you listen to the next one.